page 22. Right, so when you're supposed to sketch one, it's actually not that hard, but you just have to know how to go about it. So triangle fun has the following dimensions, right? So you've got angle F, and angle N, and side U is given. I said make a sketch, then solve the triangle. So let's do that, okay? So I don't care what it looks like, I honestly don't. It's just for reference purposes. And then you start somewhere. I normally start at this corner right here, so I go F, U, N. It doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise, you will end up with the same results. And then you fill in, you know that this is lowercase u, lowercase f, and across n, this is lowercase n over here. So let's fill in what we know. 42 degrees, that's angle F. That would go right here. So 42 degrees. N is 36. And side U is 37.42 inches. So that's this one here. 37.42 inches. Just label it, fill in what you know. Make sure you write this down because this is probably a good one. It has a lot of components to it, right? Sketching, solving, all of those things. Which law would you use here? Let's say this is your AC tomorrow. Which law would you have to use? Sine? Can I ask you why you say it's sine? There are two angles. And you really know the third one, right? If you know two, that'll allow you to find a pair. And there is no SAS, right? There's no SAS, and there's definitely not side, side, side. So cosine law is not even a contender, right? This is a sine law question, so I just want you to remember that. So that's my first order of business. I'm going to say, hey, angle U is 180 minus 42 minus 36. Let's do that. And thought I had my key ready to go here, but 102. Okay, I'm just going to go with that. 102 degrees. We notice that it's obtuse, not a big deal. So I'll put that in here. 102. Okay. That's found. Now you have your pair. Okay. So I will put as number 1 here. Okay. This was the first step. I used sum of triangles equal to 180 to come up with that. I have a pair. Use sine law. Okay. That would be, to me, honestly, that would have been my second step there. And then go from there. So we're in the process of solving the triangle, right? So we already found that third angle, so no more angles need to be found. So we're going to go sine of 102 over 37.42 inches. That is equal to, and now it's the choice, right? Now word problem, you need to be careful, right? Which one are they asking you for? Now it doesn't really matter because we're solving everything. So if you're picking 42, look up here real quick. If you're picking 42, you are solving for F, right? You're solving for this side. So sine of 42 degrees would have lowercase f underneath it. And then F is, yeah, right, multiply 37.42 times sine of 42 divided by sine of 102. That would give you side F. I gave you the answers, I think, yesterday, but it doesn't hurt, right? to go through the motion. So I strongly encourage you when I ask you to do questions, actually try them, because there's always a little bit of a curveball. There's no two that are alike, no two questions that are alike. So you kind of want to tackle them all. Okay, so this is done. This would have been my third step in this case, just so later on when you read the notes, like, okay, this, right? And then last but not least is finding n. However, could you use something other than sine law to solve for side n? Could you? Like, for example, right now, you know that this is 25.60, right? Don't you see an SAS here in this corner? Side angle side right here. You kind of have to ignore everything else. But you could use cosine law to solve for n. And I'm going to do that right now, okay? Fourth step, solve for side n. Use sine or cosine law. You choose what you want to use. Choose your own adventure, right? Remember those books? Right? Same thing here. Except for all the n. The n should be the same no matter what. So let's do cosine law. Cos law, right? N squared is equal to, I'm going to take these two sides, 37.42 squared plus 25.6 squared minus 2 times. And so, you know what? I think you're like, how do you memorize the formula, Mr. Rusin? I always have to look at my study sheet. That's okay if you need to look at your study sheet every single time. I've been doing this for years, right? So I just remember, right? Cosine of what? What angle do I need to take if I use these two sides? If I use these two sides, I have to use the one that's in between them, that's 36 degrees. Okay, so let's figure that out. Two squared plus 25.6 squared minus 2 times 37.42 times 25.6 times cosine of 36. It's 505. And the number should not scare you, right? Like if you have a really big number, it doesn't matter as long as it's within reason. When you take the root, the answer should be reasonable. And there's 22.49 inches. And just for today, I'm going to ask you to also write this part down. What if I use sine law instead? What if I use sine law instead of cosine law? Because I would say that most students prefer sine law once they go with it. Once that's your option, that's what the preferred method. So watch this. I'm going to start with the same pair as before. I think it's important to know though that you have options. And instead of using, let me just go up here. Instead of using sine of 42, I'm now going to use sine of 36 because that's going to help me find n. The important thing to remember is at the beginning, you do not have a choice. You have to pick the right one to get you started. It's either or. There's no both, right? So you got to watch out for that. So n is going to be 37.42 sine of 36 divided by sine of 102. So here it is. Grand finale. Hopefully this works out, because if not, we're in trouble. 22.49 4, 9, rounded. Exact same answer. Sometimes we are going to be off by 0.01 if we choose one method over the other, but right, it is the same answer. So we're now mixing it all together. Now you have like a buffet of options, right? Like I can do this or I can do that. There are many ways to get there. Okay. I wanted to start a new concept, but I think what I want you to do right now, it doesn't matter if you think you know it. Let's say you know it and you're like, I don't think I need more. I still want you to do it, right? So I picked 4 questions that I want you to try before tomorrow, because tomorrow you're supposed to know which one do I pick, right? I'm expecting you by the end of today to know that. So come with me to page 23. Come to page 23. And I just want you to circle questions 2 and 3 on page 23. Yeah, there's a bunch of practice questions. Circle questions 2 and 3. And do you see the question marks that I put there on the triangles? Because I don't want you to solve the triangle, like it's too tedious. So on this top one, I asked you to just find that side. And this bottom one, I just asked you to find that angle where the question mark is. So make sure you put the question mark where it's supposed to be, okay? 2 and 3. And on page 24, come with me to page 24. I want you to do 6 and 8. And put the question marks where they belong, okay? But there's a question mark here. And the hardest of all, you might think it's not that hard, but I'm still going to tell you it's hard. This one down here, I'm asking you to solve for angle B. That one is not going to be so straightforward. You might have to do more work than just one step. Okay, so can I ask you something? Start with 8 and then move your way to the front, because the front is cosine law and you've just done a bunch of cosine law. So let's start 8 and then go 8, 6. So go backwards. You should be able to do it. All right. And the answers, guys, if you want to do all of them, I'm not going to stop you. The answers are starting on page 26. Every single triangle is completely solved there. So the only thing is they round to a whole degree. I would like you to round to 2 decimals, but if you're in the ballpark, you're good. Okay, so the answers are in this booklet, so you don't have to wait for me to give you the answers. So start now, and I think that'll be it. I might come back and just add a few things, but go for it, okay? Also add this. So there's a pair there. You have to use sine law to get you started. So I would actually already start with it. Do what you can if it at first seems impossible. And for B, it's impossible to find angle B because you don't know the side across from it, right? You can't go there. But since you have 15 miles, you can solve for this angle. So I will say, hey, well, 50 miles, and then I'll just figure out what C is. That's what I can do at the moment. Once you find this angle, you will already have 2 out of the 3, right? And that will allow you to solve for this one. So this one is kind of like the last thing you do. First, focus on finding this angle because you have the side across from it. Okay, so I will just leave it there. The other ones are pretty straightforward. This one was the only one that required more than one step, right, to get you going. So try it. There's still